Hey guys, we got another jacket battle, this time between the Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisperer 2 versus the Mountain Hardwear Ghost Shadow. That's next. Welcome to Backcountry Renegade. I'm Jeff. This channel is all about backcountry adventures and all the gear in between. If you're into those things too, consider subscribing. Today we're looking at two popular jackets for hiking and backpacking, the Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisperer 2 versus the Mountain Hardwear Ghost Shadow. These jackets are very similar. The Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisperer 2 featuring down insulation, where the Ghost Shadow features synthetic insulation. These are both great insulation pieces which can be used as a mid layer underneath a shell, or you can use it as a standalone jacket in the shoulder season. There are tons of pros and cons to these jackets and a lot of similarities and differences, so let's check them out in a bit more detail. The Ghost Whisperer 2 is one of the most popular jackets in the backpacking community. It is made by Mountain Hardwear, and the Ghost Whisperer 2 has been revamped from the previous model that has been around forever. In it, they did a lot of tweaks and stuff and made it a little bit more robust and a little bit warmer as well. They also came out with an ultralight version. If you're interested in seeing the differences between the Ghost Whisperer 2 and the ultralight, you can click the link here. But the Ghost Whisperer 2 is lightweight, it is warm, it uses 800 fill down, it's super packable and has an excellent warmth to weight ratio as well. This one here is in a men's small and it comes in a variety of sizes and colors. I like this color, it's a surplus green, and I can use it as a layer for hunting as well. This sells new for $325, but you can often find it on sale, and I've been able to find it recently for about 25% off. The Ghost Shadow is also made by Mountain Hardwear and is very similar to the Ghost Whisper jacket, but it features synthetic insulation rather than down. It also is very packable, it's warm given its weight as well, and it's touted as being one of the most sustainable jackets made by Mountain Hardwear because it's made of 88% recycled material. They also claim in the production process it uses 52% less water, so very good sustainable jacket all around. Now this is not an active layer by any means, but for a synthetic layer, it is pretty breathable for what it is. It also comes in a variety of sizes and colors. This one here is in a men's small, and it is in the black spruce color. It sells new for about $230, and I've seen it on sale for as low as $169. Now just to highlight a few things between the debate between synthetic and down, down is traditionally going to be lighter and warmer than synthetic insulation. Synthetic insulation is catching up to the qualities of down, but for right now, down is by far superior as far as weight to warmth ratio. Down is also usually more compressible than synthetic as well. One of the downsides of down, no pun intended, is that if down does get wet, it loses its ability to maintain its loft, and so it won't keep you warm. Synthetic, on the other hand, will maintain its loft even when wet. So it's a good thing to keep you warm if you find yourselves in wet environment. Another thing is down has a longer life expectancy as well. If it gets dirty and it clumps up, you can wash it and it can restore its loft as well. Synthetic, on the other hand, after compression and everything, even if it gets dirty and stuff, it will deteriorate over time and it cannot regain its loft. So understanding your environment and the conditions you find yourself in will determine really if you need down or synthetic. Moving on, there are a lot of similarities between these two jackets. Both these jackets are considered ultralight and are highly compressible. Both these jackets also have a good warmth to weight ratio. They also have elastic cuffs, hood, and zippers as well. Both these jackets can function either as a standalone jacket in cool weather, or you can even use it as a mid layer underneath a shell when it does get colder. Both these jackets are windproof, and both of them have a DWR finish on the shell to repel rain. Now let's look at some of the differences, starting with the shell fabric. The Ghost Whisperer 2 features a 10 denier by 10 denier Whisper ripstop nylon. It's ultralight, 100% recycled ripstop nylon shell that also features a DWR finish. The previous Ghost Whisperer had a 10 denier, but it also had 7 denier in certain areas. This one here is 10 denier all around, so it's a bit more durable in the areas that kind of wear a bit more. And the Whisperer fabric is specifically for the Ghost Whisperer line here. I did find that 10 denier is a pretty good medium by being lightweight but also having some durability. The Ghost Shadow, on the other hand, features a 100% post-industrial recycled 10 denier by 10 denier face fabric. It is a 10 denier recycled ripstop nylon fabric. The lining fabric is a 20 denier nylon, so a little bit thicker for durability there. The shell also has a DWR finish, so it can repel light rain and water to an extent. One thing I did notice is the Ghost Shadow tends to be a little bit noisier compared to the Ghost Whisper, so maybe not the most ideal for hunting, but the durability of the shells are going to be very similar since they are both 10 denier. Looking at the insulation, the Ghost Whisper 2 features 3 ounces of 800 fill down. So the really high quality down that's going to keep you warm, a great warmth to weight ratio. The previous Ghost Whisper featured 2.53 ounces of 800 fill down. So this one's going to be warmer than the original model. The down inside is also Allied RDS certified down insulation, so it's ethically sourced, which ensures no birds were unnecessarily harmed or live plucked or force fed during the process. The down also features Q-Shield hydrophobic down. So this is a coating of knit wax that helps repel water to extent, so if it does get wet, it can retain its loft a whole lot better than without it. The Ghost Shadow, on the other hand, uses a synthetic insulation that is body mapped around the jacket and features Primaloft Silver 80-gram synthetic insulation. It also has 60 grams synthetic insulation in the hood to provide maximum warmth, freedom of movement, and efficient layering. So this is one of my complaints about this jacket, is it's only Primaloft Silver. If they use Primaloft Gold, which you see in like the Nano Puff, it will actually be even warmer for the same kind of weight of insulation. So let's talk about the weight. The weight of the Ghost Whisper 2 is 7.8 ounces in a min small, or that's 220.5 grams that Mountain Hardwear claims on their website. My version on my scale weighed in at 8.3 ounces in a men's small. The Ghost Shadow, on the other hand, weighed 11.7 ounces, and that's to be expected because the synthetic insulation does weigh more, and they also use a heavier liner denier inside the jacket. Let's talk about the warmth. For the Ghost Whisper 2, I started to feel cold around 26 degrees just wearing a shirt under as I was moving, but as I started sitting down at a campsite, it was closer to around 31, 32 degrees. The Ghost Shadow, on the other hand, I was pretty warm considering it is synthetic insulation. I started to feel cold around 27, 28 degrees while I was moving, and about 32 while I was standing still. If the Ghost Shadow did use Primaloft Gold rather than Primaloft Silver, it would have had a higher warmth. Looking at the quilting pattern or the baffles, the Ghost Whisper 2 features what they call micro down baffles, and this is nice because it keeps this down insulation in place and prevents it from going down into the rest of the jacket. But there's also cons to this. The more stitching you have, the more areas where there isn't down, so it allows cold wind to penetrate through as well where there is more stitching. The Ghost Shadow, on the other hand, also uses micro baffles to keep the synthetic insulation in place, but it also uses areas where it's mapped out in the shoulders, the cuffs, and towards the bottom of the jacket where you don't have any baffles there. And that actually is to help reduce wind penetration so you don't have any stitching there. Looking at the pockets, both the Ghost Whisper and the Ghost Shadow feature 2 pockets in the front of the jackets for hand warmer pockets. They're pretty minimalistic and ultra light. The right side of each pocket, you can stuff the jacket into each of those. In the inside of the pockets for the Ghost Shadow, you actually have 2 areas and you have drop pockets. So there's no zippers on the top, but you can put gloves or sunglasses or anything like that. You can see it features really on here how much of the recycled material that they do have into this jacket. For the Ghost Whisper, on the other hand, as you open it up, you do not have any pockets on the inside, and that's in an effort really to save weight. Looking at the cuffs, the Ghost Whisper really just has some nice soft material on the inside. There's no elastic to really cinch down the sleeves around gloves, so it is kind of stiff and firm, where the Ghost Shadow, on the other hand, has elastic on the inside to really go ahead and expand a little bit more than the Ghost Whisper. The Ghost Whisper 2 decided to not put the elastic in there because it seems to be elastic is a little less durable when it comes to jackets. Looking at the hem cinch cords, both these jackets actually feature 1 hem cinch cord here on the inside. So it's on the right hand side, and this is cool because you can go ahead and cut off any airflow from coming in underneath your jacket. But the downside about this is as you pull it, these can get really long, and it can just be hanging by your knee almost. So it would have been better, in my opinion, if they put 1 on each side to maintain that and prevent this from being so long here. But they did that as an effort really to save weight and still give you the ability to cinch the hems. Let's talk about the weather resistance of these jackets. Both these jackets do feature a DWR finish to help repel light rain, but these are by no means waterproof. You will need a shell if you encounter heavy downpours as well. Behind the zipper here, you do have this wind sleeve here, which goes behind the zipper to prevent any wind drafts from penetrating through right into your chest. You have the same thing on the Ghost Shadow here as well. Both these jackets are windproof as well, so they're going to do a good job blocking out the wind and keeping you nice and warm. Both these jackets do have pretty good hoods here, and there is elastic on the outside for both of these, and they do not have any cords to help tighten the hood or anything from the back, and that's very minimalistic. I did have problems though. If you encounter heavy winds, it will just blow your hood off and it almost becomes useless. So it is pretty frustrating. I would have liked to see, some cinch cords to help tie down the hoods a little bit better to prevent it from blowing off for the wind. The hoods are insulated and they are nice and warm and windproof as well. They do have elastic in the brim, and if you are wearing a helmet, these can go over helmets for the most part, but it will be a little tight as you turn your head. Looking at the zippers, both these jackets feature high quality YKK zippers. The Ghost Shadow, on the other hand, has 48% recycled material in the YKK zipper, so a little bit more sustainable in that regard. Other than that, they're very durable and dependable. The Ghost Shadow also uses a little bit bigger and thicker zippers here, and it's easier to grab for those as well, but just a slight difference on the zippers. Let's talk about the style. Both these jackets are pretty stylish. They're very much the same. The down baffles feature a really nice design there to wear out in town, but also looks good out in the backcountry as well. So I would say it's a tie as far as style is concerned. Let's talk about compression. Both these jackets will stuff into the front pocket there. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And you can just go ahead and stuff it in there. All right, so here is the Ghost Whisperer stuffed into its front chest pocket here. Zips up nicely and is pretty compressible. You can even compress it even more if you needed to. Go ahead and compress the Ghost Shadow here, and it'll also compress into its front zipper. All right, so we have both the jackets compressed here, and the Ghost Whisperer you can see is slightly less bulky than the Ghost Shadow here. Not a huge difference, but something to note nonetheless. All right, so concluding thoughts. There's a lot to like about both these jackets. The Ghost Shadow is more affordable, it's warm, it's light, it's compressible, but there are some cons to it as well. It's not as compressible, it's heavier, and it's not as warm as the Ghost Whisperer. So if I had to pick between these two jackets, then the Ghost Whisperer 2 wins the battle for me because the pros outweigh the cons. The first pro of the Ghost Whisperer 2 is the warmth to weight ratio is much better than the Ghost Shadow. It is a warmer jacket, but also a lighter jacket. Another pro about it is since it is using a high quality down, it is gonna be warm, but the nice thing is it's covered with Neek Wax, so it's a hydrophobic down, so it does have that extra level of protection, so if it does get wet, it's not gonna decompress or lose its loft as much as untreated down does. Another pro of the Ghost Whisperer 2 is the life expectancy of down is higher than synthetic. And because of that, it's worth the extra investment that you have for that. If it does get dirty, it loses its loft, just wash it, dry it, and it'll regain its loft, and you can't do that with synthetic. Now let's talk about the cons. The first con of the Ghost Whisperer 2 is that it is a more expensive jacket. You're looking at least a $100 difference between the two, and if you find the Ghost Shadow on sale a lot more often, it's a pretty good bargain considering what you're getting. But I think the Ghost Whisperer 2 is worth the investment. Another con about the Ghost Whisperer 2 is it is a bit boxier of a feel compared to the previous version, which was a little bit more slim fit. It fit me a lot better. And it also is a little tight in the shoulders. When you do this or reach up for holds or something, you can feel it in the shoulders a bit, where my other one, the previous version, really didn't have that as much. Another con about the Ghost Whisperer 2 is you don't have those cinch cords in the hood to really tighten it down. So if you encounter a lot of wind, your hood's just gonna blow right off. But the same thing is true about the Ghost Shadow. So what did you think of these two jackets? Which one won the jacket battle for you? Was it the Ghost Shadow or the Ghost Whisperer 2? Leave me a comment in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. If you like what you saw, make sure to subscribe. Also give this video a thumbs up. And as always, thanks for watching.